go. Hello, everyone. I'm Kelly. Like all of you here, I'm just bursting with joy to be here to celebrate the love of Dan and Shanae, and I'm honored to share this moment with you. You are both such unique and wonderful humans, and you've created such a beautiful partnership as the strong foundation for your marriage, your love, and your best friendship. It's wonderful to think that you two Billikens have met in perfect timing, where every step you have taken in life has forged a path that prepared you for this day and the life you are building together. Thank you for bringing us all here today. I'd like to tell you all what brought me here today. One day in the winter of 2012, I decided to go to a book signing, and I'm so glad that I went because I have gained a lifetime best friend and sister through a chance encounter. Shanae and I were standing in that line, and we said something to each other along the lines of that one day we hoped we could grow up and be like Isabel Wilkerson, the author who was speaking. Yeah. Shanae, I have watched you grow up. Graduate while working in Boston, enter the tech industry, become a professor, negotiate salaries and careers, found a business, grow your heart, run half marathons, be a total badass lady. Excuse me, sorry kids. And you have done so with voiced grace, able humility, and soft humor. It's such a blessing to have you in my life. I love you, friend. I promise you I will support you and Dan no matter where you go in life. And I promise you I will finish that book one day. Oh, yeah. Now, Dan, you truly are an extra special guy. You have an opinion on whether or not a hot dog is a sandwich, or if a grizzly bear or a silverback gorilla wins in a fight. The only bad thing I think I can say about you is that you are a Cardinals fan. Sorry. Dan, the Cardinals fan, this may be only the third time that we've been in a room together, but I'm already counting you in my fold. Like, that says a lot. You have been welcoming and kind from day one, and it's so apparent to all of us that you love Shanae and that she has found a loving and equal partner in you. You show up and you choose Shanae every day. I see that when you surprised her at her bachelorette party, when you hop on the phone with us, when the two of you are problem solving together. You are a great team, and it's so wonderful to see you love Shanae and Shanae love you. So, to Jan and Shanae, congratulations. Woo! Cheers. Okay, in charge guy.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, big round of applause, everybody. Up next, we have Matt.
Good evening, everyone. For those who don't know me, I'm Daniel's younger brother, Matt, and I just want to start by saying congratulations to Daniel and Shanae. It's a joy to be here with you guys tonight. Now, I'm 3 years younger than Daniel, so we've been through a lot together over the years, as you can imagine. And I thought I'd just share a couple stories with you all tonight about some of the memorable times we've had growing up and hanging out. And because I'm his brother, I want to start with a story that's given him a lot of grief over the years. So when I was younger, I relied pretty heavily on Daniel to drive me around, whether it was to school or soccer practice or a friend's house. I spent a lot of time sitting in the passenger seat of the old '93 Camry, silently gripping the armrest, praying I wasn't going to die before we made it to our destination. You see, Daniel's driving record is a little spotty, and he'll tell you it's just bad luck. He's the victim of circumstance. But I've been in that passenger seat, and I was there for one of those very first pieces of bad luck. We were about high school age. I may have been still in grade school. But we were driving down Highway 67 in Alton, coming from downtown, and we needed to take the exit that takes you onto Alton Square Mall Drive. It's a right exit. And I don't know where we were going that day, but I do know one crucial fact, which was it had been raining. So the exit comes up on our right, and Daniel takes the ramp in true Daniel fashion, just a little too fast. And normally this wouldn't be a big deal, but with the rain and the old tires on that Camry, the back end of the car started swinging out, and we were skidding. So Daniel corrected, but a little too much. And for a moment, we were staring at the line of cars directly across the median from us. Images like seared into my head. But Daniel had one more swing of the wheel in him, and he got us going the right way again. We hopped up onto the median, and we heard a loud bang. And we came to a stop. I looked over at Daniel. He's shell-shocked. I was pretty scared too, but I was really just worried about whether my dad was somehow going to be able to blame me for this too. So we got out of the car, and we looked around. It was pretty clear immediately what that loud noise had been, because there had been a sign standing straight up, and it was now bent at 90 degrees. And a woman stopped, and she got out of her car, and she was like, "Are you guys okay?" We were like, "Yeah." And she said, "Well, I'm not going to call the police, but you guys should." And Daniel and I looked at each other. We looked at her, and we were like, yeah, for sure. We'll definitely call the police. And then she got in her car, and she drove away. And we got in our car, and we drove in the opposite direction. And the story really ends there. But, you know, so when Daniel told me that the wedding planner had forbidden them to drive on the day of the wedding, I was naturally pretty relieved. So I've been driving him around. All right, so I got one more story. It's not about Daniel's driving. It does involve a sign. This one is about one of Daniel's favorite places in the world, which is the music festival Bonnaroo. Daniel's been to Bonnaroo a bunch of times, and he used to invite me year after year. I was a little worried about sleeping in tents at a music festival, but finally in 2018, the lineup was too good, and I was like, all right, this is it. This is the year. So for those of you who don't know, Bonnaroo is huge. It's down on a farm in Tennessee, tens of thousands of people, 10 different stages. And that means if you get separated from your group, it's bad. You can wander around for hours and hours and never find them. So people use what's called a totem, which is just a long piece of PVC pipe with a sign at the top of it. And it's high enough that it doesn't block anyone's view of the stage, but it's great if you're going to the bathroom or getting some beers and you need to come back and find your group. But someone has to carry it. And everyone benefits from the person carrying the totem, and in return, the person carrying the totem gets absolutely nothing. It's a super thankless job, and Daniel carried our group's totem around all weekend. I think someone may have stepped in. It definitely wasn't me. But that's the kind of guy Daniel is. He doesn't shy away from responsibility. He puts other people's needs before his own. I've seen him do this over and over as we've grown up together. He joined the SLU Karate Club way back when he was an undergrad, and he's been running it ever since. After graduation, he served on the scholarship committee for the MLK scholarship at SLU, helping make sure incoming students were rewarded for a commitment to their service. He spent time on the Young Professionals Board at the Great Rivers Environmental Law Center because he believes in their mission. And every year he does the Relay for Life at SLU in honor of our aunts and uncles who have passed away. In other words, when Daniel commits to something, he doesn't do it halfway. He knows the joy and satisfaction of working towards something long term. I hope you see where I'm going with this. Because when Daniel first told me he wanted me to introduce me to Shanae, I had a feeling it might be something special. He was pretty insistent. It wasn't like, let's just hang out. It was like, you need to meet her. And after the first time we hung out together at his apartment, I had a feeling Daniel might be making another one of his big commitments sometime soon. Clearly, that was the case. So Shanae, I hope you know that whether you need somebody to give you a sign in the dark or knock a few down for you, Daniel will always be your guy. So let's all raise a toast to my big brother Dan and his beautiful bride Shanae. Cheers.
Big round of applause, everybody.
Oh, right now. And the award for cutest couple goes to Dan and Shanae. While I have a speech prepared, I do want to go a little bit off course with your permission, okay? Because the Virgo in her would judo chop my neck. I love Shanae dearly. I met Shanae over 10 years ago, which it took me a moment to realize over 10 years have passed, and it felt like a blink of an eye. And we met in Boston. And I remember the first time meeting you at one of Jerry's events and feeling like I was at home. And I felt like anybody that deserved your time and love is because they provide that feeling for you. So when you came to Boston and you brought Dan with you to our home, I knew. I was like, oh, it's just a matter of time. That's it right there. And I told my husband, this is the one. I know this. Dan, you are amazing, and I am so happy. I'm so happy for you. And I'm so happy to see her happy because she's amazing. And I feel like our little short, quick chats at night, you know, when we've had a long week and we're playing phone tag or texting each other, and it's like, what's going on in your job? Who you had to shut down today? Because per my last email, and the fact that you found somebody that embraced and loved every bit of you, it just warms my heart. And that's all I could ask for. And God has loaned you to us for a moment, for a lifetime, and we are asking Dan to just continue to do what he does, because we're going to shower him now with unlimited love because of you. And so we are just a phone call away, everybody in this room, a text away, a flight away. I will drive down here if I have to. But I love you both, and I thank you both for the opportunity to allow us to be here with you. Thank you. Everybody raise your glass for Dan and Shanae. Cheers.
Landon? All right, Landon.
All right. So I met Dan in middle school, 6th grade, and we went 6th, 7th, 8th grade together, and somehow we did not go to high school together. Yet here I am. Here we are. I remember he went to SALU, and he kept trying to get me to come over. We're both from Alden. He kept trying to get me to come over to St. Louis. He's like, man, room with me. And eventually, life worked out so that we roomed together. And a lot of the times while we roomed together, we weren't always together. I was going through nursing school, which is really hard. And he, was into karate and work, and a lot of times we didn't see each other, but we were always great friends. I graduated in 2020 during the pandemic, and while I was learning how to be a nurse, and like all these things were starting for me, the pandemic, of course, affected a lot of people the other way. And I got to see how it affected my friend Daniel. And I know, like, with work and just in life, he was just feeling down. And I couldn't get through that program if it wasn't for him. There's a lot of stuff. I probably was a terrible roommate. There's a lot of stuff that I couldn't get to because I was studying that he just took care of for me. A lot of things that I forgot. So I was thinking of, like, what can I do right now to help him in this moment? And we talked about, I don't know, life, or asked him about karate, or hey, you want to play some video games? But it seemed like nothing I did, helped him get out of that funk until he met Shanae. And I remember him coming home. He's like, man, I think I met, somebody and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm always wary. I'm like, okay, we'll see. And and I remember, like, Shanae's coming over, so I'm like cleaning the bathroom, and I had my cat. I was sweeping the cat litter, telling my cat, we gotta get into my room. We can't go out there. Like he's on a date. So, but Shanae, I want to thank you because I feel like you make my best friend like one of the happiest people in the world. Like nothing I could do can match how you made him feel. And I thank you for that. And anybody can tell you, like, his brother Matthew or his karate friends over there or me, like, when you have Dan in your life, it's that much better. And I'm so glad that you guys met at the time that you guys met, and it's great. And I want to reference my dad over there. I remember the time he was in Kansas City, and he came down, and the two of us were walking around downtown having girl problems and stuff like that. And I remember we both asked him, like, how do you know when you find the one? And I remember him saying, it's like, you'll know. It'll make all the other times with anybody else worthwhile. And I remember we had a conversation in the apartment about that conversation with my dad. And I'm like, okay, yeah, she's the one. So I want to have a toast to Dan, my best friend, and Shanae for just making this work, and everybody being happy. So, cheers.